Hi everybody and welcome back. Now, the first thing you're going to notice about this lecture is I have a new interface running. So I'm using Python's idle interpreter. So that's the development environment provided by Python itself when you install Python. So if any of this is unfamiliar to you or you don't know how to get this interpreter up and running, please go back to the introduction sections and have a look there for the lecture on using idle. And the reason I've switched into idle is because, as you've seen in the last lectures, I was using the Sublime text editor. But Sublime does not let us use input statements, and that's what this lecture is all about. So in future lectures, we're going to be discussing what's called branching and conditions. But before we get there, I want to discuss Python's input function. And that function looks like this. Input, open and close brackets. So let's look at a simple example of a welcome message. So welcome equals input, and then we place our argument inside, or what we want the input method to show. Welcome, what's your name? And we leave a space there, and we close our double quotes, and then we close our brackets. Perfect. Except for the input function, all of this should be very familiar to you. The purpose of the input function is to get something from the user, in this case the user's name, but it could be anything: a password, email address, a phone number, anything. Your program is paused until the user enters something. So let's run this, and unlike Sublime, which saves automatically, before you can run a program in idle, you have to save it. So let's just save this. There we go. And then to run, you go up here, run module. Welcome, what's your name? So this is the Python module, don't worry about it for the moment. What's your name? My name is Tony. Okay, it takes in our name, but it doesn't output anything. That's okay for the moment. Once Python receives the user's input, it is then stored in a variable for you to use later. So as we can see here, our input is asking us what's our name, and that information that's inputted by the user, such as your name, will be stored in a variable welcome. The input function takes one argument, which is whatever you want to display to the user. In our case, the argument in this example is, what is your name? Our program then waits while the user enters their name and continues after the user presses enter. The response from the user, the name, is stored in the variable welcome. So let's output what we get into the variable welcome to the screen. Print hello, close our double quotes, plus welcome. So we've seen this before. Okay, perfect. And let's run this again. So first we have to save it, go up to the top menu, run module. So what's your name? Tony. Hello Tony. Perfect. Python now takes the user input and outputs that to the screen. Let's extend our program slightly and add in the dot title. So welcome.title, open and closing brackets. Save it, Command and S, and run it, which is F5. So what's your name? Tony, lowercase. Hello Tony, uppercase. Perfect. We'll come back to this input function later, but I just wanted to get you familiar with it because we're going to be using it a lot in the lectures ahead. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lecture.